Welcome, everyone, to today's show. It is going to be a doozy. This is a Boomer and Gen Xer walk into a bar, coming to you from the Rabbit Hole Studio, where you, as our listeners, will experience some wit and wisdom, some smart assery, and a mother and a daughter questioning, are we even related? And I am serious about that question today. My name is Jane. My co-host is my daughter, Bobby. And
for at least this episode.
Yeah. And we are here to entertain. It is bound to be a rough ride. Keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times today. Bobby, what's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. I've had a very pleasant day.
Very pleasant
It was a little cold this morning. My truck wouldn't start, but you know, it warmed up.
Okay.
And, I got my shit together.
Did you have to walk? Did you have to walk, Bobby?
I did not, because I am fat and I don't do that very well.
Well, maybe if you did walk, you wouldn't be fat. How about that? We had quite the discussion before we came on air, and I'm still smoking from that. I will say that.
I just like to get you really riled up.
My goodness.
It's so much fun. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I've missed you.
I have to really just light that fuse under your ass.
I don't like it when you do that, but I have missed you.
I missed you too.
And I see that you have your Monster drink down there. And do you have a little alcohol too?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I see it. I see her cocktail. She has it in front of her.
Cocktail.
So life been treating you otherwise pretty good?
Well, everybody's kind of worried right now. I know by the time this comes out, I think it'll be after the 1st of November already. So we're kind of in the middle of, the unknown with the government shutdown, and a lot of people are at risk for some major issues in the next couple months.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, start by saying, number one, we really don't talk politics on this show.
We do not.
There's a reason for that. But,
That's right.
When it comes to certain issues that affects millions of people across America, it's not a left-wing or a right-wing issue. This is a humanitarian issue.
This is an American human issue right now. And these guys need to get their heads out of their asses.
They do.
And get some decisions made and quit effing around. I'm terribly sorry. And I don't care what side of the coin you're on.
They really need to quit holding the people who are living, mid to poor. They need to quit holding their lives hostage.
Well, you know what? They're not poor, so they don't really have any urgency.
Most of them don't even know what the cost of a pound of beef is right now. I'm
not sure. I know. I don't. But nevertheless, I get it, and we're not going to go there today because we're both irritated about that.
We're rooting for everybody getting their heads out of their asses, and people doing what they need to do to survive, because it's a survival issue at this point for a lot of people.
Yeah, and folks, please be nice to one another. You don't know what kind of battle everybody is fighting on their own, and quit being political fucking pawns for everybody.
Absolutely.
Ooh, did I say that on the air?
You did.
Yeah, quit being a political fucking pawn, okay? I don't care what side of the coin you're on, quit it.
Yeah.
That is not what life is all about. It's about being kind to one another and treating people with respect, and let's move on.
Absolutely.
So what are we going to talk about today? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
It is kind of a government thing we're talking about today,
it is.
though.
So a while back, we had an episode regarding food additives and the things that are in our foods, and how they're taking a lot of the nutritional value out of our foods and putting different things into our foods. And we had mentioned a document that the federal government has, and I just want to bring that up real quick because it is called the Food Defect Levels Handbook, because we had some people who asked about it. Because I said there's a handbook out there, and you knew it because you've looked at it too, Bobby.
Oh, yeah. That's one of my favorite
It's kind
reads.
of our fun reading. And if you go really into the details of each one of the regulations as they're printed, it's quite interesting how they got there. But anyway, it's called the Food Defects Levels Handbook, and it is put out there by the Food and Drug Administration, by our U.S. government, under Title 21 of the federal regulations, and it allows the Food and Drug Administration to establish maximum levels of natural and unavoidable, they say, defects in foods for human use, human consumption, that present no alleged health hazards.
Correct.
So
alleged is the big word.
That is
allegedly.
Absolutely. And so, a lot of times these are a result of poor manufacturing practices that can cause something to go over a certain level, blending of certain foods,
contamination of certain foods when they have, warehouses and factories that produce, 2 or more foods, and the crossover contamination. Yeah, absolutely.
There's adulteration of that food product. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot that's going on there. And so if you want some fun reading, folks, go read this document.
Just don't do it like right after you eat.
Do it before.
Do it before you go grocery shopping.
Yeah, do that.
It's crazy.
Because as I said before, once you start looking into this stuff, I don't think you'll be looking at groceries and food the same way as you did before.
Never.
And so I'm just going to take this out of the document itself real quick, because one of the defects that's listed in here is insect filth.
Yeah, so like cockroach poop or like little pieces.
You can have an average of so many insect fragments per so many grams
little
of
legs.
Food. Rodent filth.
Uh-huh.
How many rodent hairs per so many grams of food.
Yep.
Some of the defects, of course, come from pre and post harvest.
Correct.
And, the processing of insects and things like that, like I said, rodent hair and things like that, and animal hair and excretion. So, it's pretty gross to.
Because how do you think that? Well, first of all, how do you think the fields are fertilized? You think they wash off that fertilizer before they throw that stuff in a barrel and send it to your grocery store?
Yeah.
They don't.
And I had the opportunity to be in a farming operation for a period of time for about 13, 14 years. And what's interesting is a lot of people don't understand that the farmers, when they have grain that goes bad, it's either called moldy corn or moldy grain, right? Mm-hmm. And it can get literally soupy.
Right.
And you can smell that pulling up to a grain bin.
Oh, yeah.
It's a horrible, horrible
smell. It's almost like a dead body smell. Once you smell it, you know the smell.
So once you, and if you open up those bins and take a look, it is the most grotesque sight you'd ever want to see. Now, it's not thrown away.
No.
What happens is that gets blended, and it gets to a point where the blending is allowed to a certain point, right? So it's like you've got some parts contaminated mixed in with good grains.
Right.
And so again, whether it's mold, whether it's something that's been contaminated another way, that just gets mixed in with the stuff that is not moldy.
Until it's to a percentage that it's acceptable to sell to humans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, folks,
let's talk about the FDA. So, do you know how long the FDA has been around?
Actually, gosh, I'm going to guess because I do not know.
Wild guess.
Wild guess. Wag. I would say, 1934.
Wrong. 1906. So it's been around for 119 years.
Wow.
Which is crazy because if you think about the early 1900s, what the hell were they regulating?
Yeah.
Like people were, you think about like the dancing plague and stuff, which was from contaminated wheat and things like that. What the hell were they regulating? They weren't regulating anything.
And how were they regulating?
Right.
And how were they testing it?
Like they got one guy with a notepad going, yep.
Yeah,
got his little newspaper hat and, going out there going, yep, them are pigs. I don't know what the hell would he have done back then?
And what kind of equipment did they use to test that stuff.
Right.
I don't know. And I would really, now that you say that, Bobby, I'm really interested in knowing what the levels were of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. What's pass, what's fail.
Right.
I don't
and
know.
back then, I mean,
Was it just wheat? Was it corn? Was it beans?
Now,
what
a lot of it, especially in the beginning, was medical equipment.
Oh.
So the FDA, they have basically 3 to 4 big things that they do. So they do food.
Yes.
They do drugs.
Yes.
They do cosmetics.
I know they do drugs.
They do cosmetics, and they also do medical equipment.
Okay.
So medical devices.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about an X-ray machine, radiation.
Right.
Madam Curry. So when did she discover
Radiation?
Yeah.
Oh,
when was
Jesus.
that? Wasn't that around the same time period?
I think it was right around that time.
So then again, 1906, you said, correct? Am I correct on that date?
Yeah.
So 1906, first of all, how were they inspecting any equipment? What were they inspecting and what were the levels?
Okay, so get this. 10 years before that is when they started doing the radioactivity with the x-rays. So it was 1896 is when the radioactivity actually started being used for photogenic plates, x-rays, things like that.
Why do you think that they included that equipment in the FDA requirements? Because they were burning people up?
I think that it had something, and I think it also had something to do with like the radium girls.
Yeah, they were dying.
They were dying. They were, their
Madam
jaws
Curry
were
died,
falling
right?
off. Their teeth were falling out, and they couldn't figure out why.
That's very, very interesting, Bobby.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people think that the FDA is involved in cosmetics to the point where they think, oh, well, the FDA says this is safe, so I'm going to put it on my face. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
So they're more involved in like the safe manufacturing of it.
So
not so much of what it's going to do to your skin.
Okay. And I want you to continue down that road because I'm going to go down the road of why the FDA is such a farce.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we might.
Yeah, well, we might collide.
Yeah,
is that
we
what
might.
You're saying?
We might. Yeah.
So we know that there's a lot of critics out there, and there's a lot of allegations regarding the FDA and how they've allowed unsafe or defective products to remain on the market or to come on the market, sometimes with fatal consequences. Right.
Right.
And so one of the allegations, it wasn't really an allegation. There was an investigation that was done that revealed in late 2024 that the FDA has such a significant backlog of thousands of drug manufacturing facilities, many of them overseas, that have not been inspected within years.
Correct.
I mean, and there's a mandatory of 5 years that they have to be inspected every 5 years.
Right.
No, it's not happening. And so there's a backlog of inspections. Why? Because they don't have qualified people.
Right.
I've always said with any job, you pay them and they will come. You pay them the right wage, they're going to come and they're going to do the job. But they don't have the inspectors, so they've got a backlog. So that's one of the oversight or failures of the oversight committees in the FDA.
Right. And, I touched on the fact that the FDA does medical devices.
Yes.
Do you know what year they started doing the medical devices and making sure that they were proper and safe and
I
things
thought you
like
said
that?
1906.
No, they did not go into the medical devices until 1976.
What was the 1906?
So the 1906 was when they were first founded.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We're talking food.
1976.
So it took them 70 years to figure out, hey, maybe we should start regulating some medical devices that these doctors are using.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the funny thing is they don't look at all these medical devices. So there's something called a grandfather clause. And I'm not talking Santa Claus. I know it's close to Christmas.
I am very familiar with grandfather clauses.
The grandfather devices, so it's a medical device that was sold to consumers before the FDA gained full regulatory authority of the medical device industry in 1976.
So anything prior to that year, then what happens, folks, with the grandfather clause is they get grandfathered in, meaning they don't have to meet certain requirements.
Correct.
They don't have to meet certain inspections.
They don't have any further studies done on them, on their efficacy or their safety, anything like that.
They don't have to meet the minimum requirements for any manufactured devices that come out, are in their possession. Anything past that date, they do have to meet those minimum requirements, or allegedly have to meet those.
Allegedly, now there are some excuses, I'll say, that the FDA allows some medical devices to use, and a lot of them come from this grandfather clause. Now, if someone comes in and invents a new medical device, and they use the basis of an FDA approved medical device that was grandfathered in before 1976, they have a higher rate of just passing the FDA with no further inspection than if a new device without using the old ways is discovered.
So they assume safe.
They assume.
Instead of assuming unsafe. That's wow.
They say that it's to get that medical device to the consumer quicker.
Yeah.
Just so that people don't suffer things like that. But I got to call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because, the FDA is also in charge of doing recalls on food, drug, and equipment. Correct?
Yep.
And so that's one of the criticisms that they have had also is they're criticized for slow responses to not only food contamination issues,
right,
but, toxic elements. What's one of the ones that comes to mind? Baby food.
Oh, God. The lead in baby food, and the arsenic.
And the pathogens in infant formula. But allowing those pieces of equipment or that food or those drugs to continue on the market, even though they know that they should be recalled. And so they've had a delay in recalls. Again, why is that? Well, they're understaffed. And to be honest with you, FDA is one of the most underfunded federal agencies that we have.
Right.
And yet it is the most critical.
And it's the most wide covering because, if you think about it, all the food, all the cosmetics, all of the medical devices, all of the drugs, that includes, not only just drugs, but we're talking like blood products.
Right.
Like factor 8 for hemophiliacs.
Oh,
so that was a big one. So they found out, back when the AIDS epidemic was happening, the FDA, there was this big hoopla, and I can't remember the exact wording, but the FDA was actually sending these blood products to other countries because they were not approved in the United States any longer. So they're selling them to other countries going, hey, we're still going to make money one way or the other.
Well, one of the things that has happened in the United States is, the FDA also has a history, or the investigation indicated that they have weakened inspection procedures that have enabled those contaminated products to enter into the supply chains, not only through our government agencies, but also through our private agencies and our pharmaceuticals, right?
Yep.
So again, in 2024, do you remember that contaminated eye drop thing from the foreign facilities because they had overdue inspections that the U.S. didn't follow up on, and what happened was four Americans died from it, and that was eye drops, folks.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conflict here, and a lot of the fact that we rely on the government to set these standards.
The first part right there tells you the whole problem. we rely on the government.
And so, I've heard people say, well, there's government restrictions on that, or there's really strict rules on that. Who do you think's enforcing that?
Right.
It's kind of like, I want a new law that says your dog can't poop on my lawn. Really? Who's going to enforce that, folks? What are you going to do? Call the cops every time?
You also have to think about it this way. you're looking at lobbyists and people who are actually sitting in Congress and Senate, and you're looking at them not understanding that these people are funded by drug companies.
I was just going there, the financial conflict of interest, because the agency faces institutional corruption criticism due to the fact that we have users' fees from pharmaceutical companies. Right? Come on. And so they're the ones who are doing a lot of the testing. They're the ones who fund the drug reviews. And so the argument is that, first of all, it's a conflict of interest, and we're really prioritizing speed and finance and profit over the safety of our people.
Correct.
So,
and they're pushing it. Here's the thing, though. They're pushing it onto us by saying, well, if we wait for these inspections to be done, if we wait for all of this testing to be done, how many people are going to die waiting for this medication? How many people are going to suffer waiting for this treatment? And so, we're empathetic. We're like, oh God, we don't want these people to die. We don't want them to suffer. Let's push it out as fast as we can.
Right.
Things like that.
So you have accelerated approvals, right?
Right.
And that's a pathway for drugs that have, that have flaws and that are ineffective or unsafe on the market, because look what happened with COVID, right? It was really pushed. And so we know now, please, folks, don't get excited over the next pandemic. We're going to have another one.
And we're going to go into we're going to go into vaccines too in another episode, because boy, do I got a shitload to say about that.
So that accelerated approval process obviously is ineffective. And then you talked about the medical device vulnerability, and that loophole is it 510K?
Hold on.
I think it's 510K clearance process that allows the manufacturers to market those new devices by comparing them to the older ones.
Right.
So even though they may have been recalled, that potentially increases the risk or harm to patients.
Right.
And so, here you are putting something new out on the market under this 501K clearance process.
510K.
Or 510K, 501. 510K process, even though we know that equipment is bad,
right?
And it's being recalled, but not recalled quick enough. But we're going to let you build some more,
right? And here's the thing: the FDA only requires right around 1% of Class 3 devices to undergo extensive and time-consuming processes to know that they're safe and they're effective.
So the U.S. has also been criticized for following more of a let's test everything out and see if it works. And yet we've got these processes in place that allow clearance for these products to go to market. Now, like in the UK or in Europe, they're more of, this doesn't feel right to us.
Right.
We're not going to let it come on the market.
And they're more of, if it's not got a 10-year or a 20-year study done on it, we're not so sure about putting it into the general population as a whole.
But they actually look at the safety of their constituents or their population.
Right.
And so what they're saying is, where the U.S. is saying, well, we think it's okay. Let's go ahead and put it out there, put it on fast track, and we'll get it on the market. We'll recall it if we have to recall it.
Right. We'll deal with the aftermath later.
Right.
Let's just get it out there.
Where the Europeans are saying, doesn't feel right to me.
Right.
I don't feel like there's enough studies done. We don't have enough logistics associated with this. Let's go ahead and just wait. And so that's why, we talked about the food, right?
Right.
A lot of stuff not getting to market. They don't have any test results on it. They're like,
right. They have the test results.
Yeah. And they're saying,
and the FDA is rejecting them, saying, well, that's not what we found. And so we're not, we're going to go ahead and let, red dye number 40 go ahead and be in everything that the Americans eat.
So one of the other critical points I found from the FDA is its contribution to the opioid crisis. Did you look into that at all?
I kind of did not, because I Yeah, I'm kind of salty about that personally.
So, not because you're on opioids or anybody that's
not because
like
I am negatively affected by it, but in a different way.
Yeah. So, the FBA, the FDA. See, I can't even get the alphabet right. I can't even get the letters right, let alone the words. So the FDA has, been criticized for its role in the opioid crisis,
right?
Because of some regulatory missteps in approving and labeling new drugs and advertising, obviously. But it does get back to the fact that, unfortunately, the industry is financing all of this. And so you've got the pharmaceutical companies that are financing a lot of these test results and a lot of the studies, everything. That need to get, to get them on the market. And so, of course, those results are going to be favorable according to what, pharmaceutical it is.
Yeah, because they're going to say, hey, we're going to sponsor this, but you're going to give us the data before you release it.
Right.
So we're going to filter the data from our point of view because we're sponsoring it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just, I struggle with this because,
do you remember, I know you probably remember this, it started in the 50s, became real popular in the 70s, and even up until I think it was 2013, transvaginal mesh.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
So that was a huge FDA black spot. Huge.
Rightly so.
Oh, rightly so. There were so many people that suffered and died because of that, because it went from, before the 50s we used it, so it's grandfathered in. Okay, well, now we're going to use it for other things that it wasn't originally approved for, but that's cool because we've already used it since the 50s. So why wouldn't we use it here? Okay, well, now people are dying. People are having lifelong, disabilities because of this. But, it's going to take us another, 40, 50 years for us to get our heads out of our asses and realize that maybe we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I guess, in this particular podcast, we could go on and on. I mean, really, I've got pages and pages, and I really want to get into some of these booklets too, but I'm not going to. But, the FDA system's failure is the things to consider are the fact that pharmaceutical companies are paying big money to get new drugs and new equipment through the approval process. And they're the ones who are paying for a lot of the studies and a lot of the tests that are being done. And so please just know that. Follow the money. Always, always, always follow the money. And the FDA does not conduct clinical trials.
No.
Approval is predicated on clinical trials submitted by the drug makers. And so, again, I did say submitted and not conducted.
Right.
So remember that. And then drug makers are under no obligation to submit all their data. If one trial fails, they can fund another one until they get the result right.
Correct.
The trials themselves aren't necessarily neutral. So commercially funded trials are far more likely to return a favorable result for that pharmaceutical company. So please, folks, just know that everything that the government tells you is safe to put in your body. Do your own research. If they say it's not safe, I would do my own research. And and
if it says it's organic or all natural.
Yeah. What do you got down there? What do you have?
I'm holding in my hand. So Mom bought me this lip balm. And
is it called lip balm?
It's called lip shit lip balm. Which is pretty cool. But, I'm sitting here and I'm holding it and I'm reading the back and, made in the USA, all natural, things like that. And the FDA does have a hand in cosmetics, but not the hand that people would probably think that it has in cosmetics. So it's not got the hand in the cosmetics like it does in the food and in the drugs and in the medical devices. So basically what they do is make sure that cosmetics aren't misbranded or adulterated. Okay. It doesn't approve most cosmetics products or ingredients before they go to market. Did you realize that?
What's it do then? What's the purpose of it?
So here's the thing. Not a lot of people know exactly why the FDA is involved in cosmetics other than making sure that maybe your lips won't fall off.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of chemicals that can be absorbed through the skin, right?
Right.
And, you know, there's a lot of topical stuff that you don't want going into the body. And I want to make sure that that's safe for me and my family.
So basically, for cosmetics, they do monitor they have the authority to take action against any cosmetic product that is found to be adulterated or mislabeled. Like if it says that it's blush and it's actually lipstick. Okay, the FDA might step in there. There's no pre-market approval for cosmetics. Like I said, the ingredients do not need to be approved by the FDA. Certain color additives must be approved, though. I don't have that list, but there are certain ones. You can look those up. The manufacturers are responsible for labeling their products correctly, including listing all the ingredients, providing necessary safety warnings, things like that. The FDA does overlook that. The facilities that make the cosmetics do have to register every 2 years.
Okay.
With the FDA.
Okay.
So,
which probably means nothing.
I'm sure they send in some paperwork. Yeah, they pay a fee and send in some paperwork. So, they have to, in doing that, they have to list the products and the ingredients with the FDA.
Okay.
Does the FDA ever look at those lists? Who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, they could just say, hey, here's our product. Here's what's in it. And the FDA could take the packet and go, okay, approved. Yeah. Without ever looking at it.
And I mean, we talked about how far backlogged they are, right?
Right.
Not only on inspections of facilities, equipment, and food and drugs, but, you know, even cosmetics. I mean, who's going to look into that stuff?
Right. And they have to, like, say if there's talc in it, because talc powder is a big thing, you know, things like that. But I mean, I guess I don't know what the FDA's actual hand in this is, because what are they really regulating?
I don't know.
What are they really regulating? Like if there's an adverse reaction, they have to report that to the FDA. Now, what the FDA does with that,
we don't know.
It could be 10 years before we find out that...
It's my understanding that there's no real fines by the FDA.
Right.
That they may just get a letter.
Right. Saying, hey, this might not be a good idea. Yeah. You know, especially like the Johnson baby powder.
Yeah. So,
you know, how long did the FDA sit on that knowledge?
Yeah, we don't know when it was reported
and
when it was finally investigated, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, again, we are not attorneys. We are not doctors. We're not experts.
Professionals.
We are not professionals of any sort. Are you a professional at anything, Bobby?
Like I said, I'm a professional asshole.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Other than that, I mean, I'm a shit talker and a shit starter.
Yeah, well, you're a shit stirrer,
I'm also, you know, if I do say something and I say it with my whole chest, you best believe that I have the credibility and the sources to back this up.
All we're saying, folks, is just take a look. Take a look. Do your own investigation. The FDA's oversight of food, you know, of the food policies, drug safety, and general public health of our society and the equipment that we use really just isn't working well, and everybody thinks it is.
Right.
And
you got to protect yourselves.
You got to protect yourselves. And please know that the FDA is horribly underfunded. And so, you know.
And it's the government.
It's the government.
I mean, the government's hands are in their pockets. Their hands are in the government's pockets. Everybody's being paid off. I think they should wear jackets like in NASCAR that say who all's funding them.
Who
in the
all's
Senate,
sponsoring them.
You know,
yeah.
like if, you know, you got 63 people with Pfizer across the back. Guess what? I'm probably not going to use a Pfizer product.
Yeah,
all right?
My home and my yacht was bought by Pfizer. Thank you very much.
All 6 of my grandkids went to college on Pfizer.
All right. Well, I think that's about all we've got, isn't it, Bobby?
I think so. So listen, we really appreciate each and every one of you joining us every week, even though, you know, sometimes we sound like idiots.
Well, you got to sit at the table.
You know, we do want to hear from you guys, though. So if you guys have questions, if you guys deep dive into this and go down that rabbit hole, we want to know about it.
Right.
So listen, follow us, like us, share us. We have our Facebook official Facebook page, A Boomer and a Gen Xer Walk Into a Bar. You can always leave comments on our posts there. You can email us at boomerandgenxer@gmail.com. But listen, if you have hate mail, I mean,
don't want it. Send it to
put it in
the
FDA.
pharmaceuticals.
Put in the FDA papers because
they're never going to see
we're not going to
it.
read it. But listen, until next week, I'm Bobby Joy.
And I'm Jane Burt.
And you're stuck with us.
Peace out.
Later.